So moving on to the next one, franchisors should manage all suppliers rather than letting franchisees source their own.
Yeah, so I think it's really important actually that franchisors do manage their supply chain. Guess the key thing for me, it's about consistency. So the brand consistency, quality of the product or service as well. So they can supply as much or all of the supply chain through the franchise, then that's one of the key benefits of it.
Yeah, just to counter that, Charlie, though, what about like local markets and pricing for, say for example, someone's having to buy from a national supplier and they know that they could get product at 25% less of the same quality and the same requirement. That's going to cause a little bit of anguish, isn't it, between the franchisee and the franchisor? I understand what you're saying, but maybe a degree of flexibility is required. Do you think?
In certain products, I think, but I'd still think best of the franchisor can, especially in food and beverage, I would say. So, to get that consistency of the product, I think is really, really important. And actually, the franchisor is doing a good job. Excuse me. They should be making sure that the price is right in the first place, and actually, price should potentially be lower as the brand builds up and they've got the volume supplied through the suppliers by negotiating good prices with them. So actually, it could be lower cost, higher margin if the products are sourced through the franchisor or supplied through the franchisor.
As long as the supplier doesn't run out of chicken like KFC a few years back.
Yeah, maybe, and that's about the franchisor making sure that they've done their due diligence on the supplier. I guess with some of my clients, some of the key things have been, can a supplier actually supply the whole of the UK? If they got, take, one of my F&B businesses, that was a key discussion in the early days about actually supplying the product. The other way to do it, of course, is, and I guess I've got a couple of clients that have done this as well, is do a central production kitchen. So then they've got complete control over the product and the quality of it, and then it's about getting the right distribution channels to make sure that it's delivered on time at the right price.
Yeah, okay. What about that the feeling though of the franchisee? Like, do you think that a franchisee feels out of control because they're having to do everything through the franchisor? Like, do you think that discourages them from feeling like a business owner, or do you think it just helps them out?
I think it helps them out. I think it's a big benefit actually for a lot of franchisees if the franchisor has done their due diligence, got the pricing right, negotiated it, etc. Then I think that can be a real benefit to starting up your own business, having to go and find your own supplies of I don't know, coffee beans or whatever it may be, so burgers or whatever. Then I think, and other products it could be as well. So thinking of car valeting and the shampoo, it could go down to that kind of level as well. It just gives that consistency, and actually all the franchisees should benefit from having consistent supply chain, good pricing, and that's kind of key to it. I guess the other thing we'd add is, as long as the franchisor doesn't get greedy and start adding on too much of a margin themselves or keeping some of that margin, yeah, they can have a rebate, but make sure they're passing on the prices to the franchisees, not trying to make a big margin from doing that, because that will cause problems if they do that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. That'd be the issue of the franchisee feeling it's unfair and the franchisor's winning more than them, and they're stuck in this system. So it's a balancing act, isn't it? So
yeah, no, absolutely right. Yeah. And I think it also cuts down complaints as well. Another thing I found is that because of that consistency, if you go into one shop or one branch, one location, sorry, probably a better way to put it, then actually versus another location, you get exactly the same product. That's really important. If a cup of coffee and that same taste have gone to it because of you don't want the franchisees off doing their own thing, and actually can really lose quality as well as consistency, because franchisees might easily just go for the cheapest that they can find rather than actually what the brand's all about.
But it is quite a big burden, isn't it, on the franchisor administratively to manage these relationships with the suppliers. So I think if we're going for what you're saying, I think it's important for the franchisor to understand and to price out the work that they need to do with the franchisee, with the supplier for the franchisee, in order to ensure that they're not feeling hard done by. It's swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, don't disagree with that. I think that's where, if the franchisor has actually managed to negotiate a rebate, for example, that they keep that rebate as part of their administration expenses, or add on a small percentage for that administration side of it. So don't disagree with that. But it's not getting greedy, as I mentioned earlier. It's about, keeping it tight, making sure the franchisee is competitive in the marketplace. They're making a good margin on it. And that's where it really benefits both the franchisor and the franchisee, I would say.